If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.
You can't talk back to it. And the only way to share this is for me to literally walk over and give it to you, right? It's the only way that you can read this as it is for me to give it to you physically. I've got to be in the same room. How many of you share stuff on Facebook or Twitter for people every single day, right? It's a click away. You just click and people see it and they can interact with it. Whether it's a video they can watch, a piece of information, a word, something they can listen to, an MP3, a song, a thought, any of that stuff. I'm finding it amazing this week that people are sending me Christmas cards. What am I going to do with this thing, you know? Facebook me the picture of you and your kids, you know? That way I can share it with her and him and you guys and send it out to you and email it out. So I am absolutely intoxicated with technology. And I'm 42, and I sat in a room just like you guys are doing right now 27 years ago, and I put out a student newspaper just like this. And I think this is an awesome, great way to start. I mean, this is where I got to start my career to do what I do. But if I don't leave you with anything and you don't remember who I am when I leave, just know that your world is incredibly open with possibility. How many of you have an iPhone or a Droid? Give me your hands. You know what you are? You're a broadcaster. You have the same power that WBAL, WJZ, WMAR, BET, anyone that has a video signal, all of your phones are absolutely like that tower is over off I-83 and TV Hill. You have the ability to broadcast. And what you broadcast can be beautiful, it can be ugly, it can be positive, it can be negative. I do it all. I broadcast ugly stuff and I broadcast beautiful stuff. I talk about how great the world is. I talk about how the world sucks. Because some days it does, you know. And I talk about good and bad with the Ravens and with the Orioles and with the Terps and all the different things that are going on. If you're a Terps football fan this week, there's been a lot of news about that. Obviously, the Ravens are in the news going to the playoffs. So that's the business I'm in. But the difference now is I've taken a radio station where you couldn't see me. You could only hear me in a limited way. And now, right now, I'm broadcasting this video to anyone in the world that would want to see it if I could share a link. And it's very, very powerful and it's very inexpensive. If you want, 15 years ago when I bought my radio station, if I had wanted to buy a TV station, I would have needed tens of millions of dollars to do that. Now I don't need to do anything other than have a website or a Facebook page, and I can share any thought I have anytime for anybody that wants to hear it, see it, view it. And conversely, this thing here, they can't talk back and say, it's right, it's wrong. In the real world now, it's instantaneous, right? You put something up on Facebook, you put it up on Twitter, and somebody disagrees with it, they're going to disagree right now. And they have the ability to feed back. And that's the conversation part that, quite frankly, I think a lot of old people have a lot of problems with. And they, you know, they're still living in this world. That's why your teacher said about having a radio station here. I've got a radio station for you right here. I can put this laptop right over in the corner, put a $10 microphone into it, and you've got a radio station. You've got a radio station right here if you have one of these phones. Just turn it on. I can turn it on just like this. And I hit one button. And I hit another button. And right now, I'm videotaping all of you. And when I'm done videotaping, yeah, wait, there you go. I can hit stop, and then what do I do? Share, right? Hit share, and I can share it to anywhere in the world. It's a powerful thing. And then it comes down to what are you going to broadcast? Whatever your passions are, whether it's politics, whether it's hip-hop, whether it's sports, whether it's girls' issues, guys' issues, education, whatever it would be, you have the ability to do that. And I think that's pretty much a baseline where I would start with talking to you all about what you're doing and what you're broadcasting. And quite frankly, I'm here to kind of learn about you guys. I'm doing this today. It's the first time I've ever done this as a little bit of a test pilot. How many of you go to your high school sporting event team games? Are any of you on an athletic team? How many of you are athletes? What do you play, dude?
Me?
Yep.
Basketball.
Your basketball? What's the name of your team? The Mighty Wildcats. What was your record last year?
Last year, 7-9.
All right. So you're almost 9-7, right? It's a free throw away, right? Or a couple 3-pointers, right? I'm trying to put something together. In the old days, just to give you an idea of how old I am, because I'm old. I don't look that old, but I'm old. The newspaper I worked for, the first paper, was called the News American. The News American, how many of you have been to the Inner Harbor? You know where the Renaissance is? Where the mall is, right with the gallery? Right next door, there's an empty parking lot. That was the News American. And that was the first place I ever worked when I was 15 years old. How many of you are 15? I was your age. So I was 15, I walked into the News American, and I had no ability to type. I had no ability to write. I wasn't any more or less educated than any of you, kind of the same background, except you guys are far more advanced just because you have more information coming at you. When I was 15, we had 3 TV stations. We had 2, 11, and 13. That's all we had. And, I had the Morning Sun, and that was about it to get my information. And if I wanted to get a book, I had to order it, go down to the Enoch Pratt Library. Now I can just bang a button on Amazon, and it comes in the mail the next day, and I got it, and I own it for 10 bucks. But when I started the newspaper, I started in the sports department, and I love sports. So I've always loved sports all my life. Played sports. I wrestled in high school. Played a lot of baseball when I was a kid. I was on the tennis team. Did a lot of different stuff. But my job was to take a phone call from the team manager of, let's say, your basketball team. So what would happen is, any of you involved in that sort of thing, work with the team but not on the team? What do you do, ma'am? Turn your body to me. I want to see your beautiful face. There you go. How are you? What's your name? Hi, nice to know you. I'm Ness. What do you do for the team? You are the manager. Okay, so after the game's over, after he misses the three-pointer at the buzzer, right, and Douglas beats you guys 67-65, right, do you keep all the stats?
No.
You don't keep the stats. Do you have to call the newspaper? Okay, in the old days, your job would be to call me at the paper and say, Jones scored 10 points, Smith scored 8 points. And we would take it, and I would type it into the computer, the computer was this big, and it had a green monitor, it wrecked my vision. I know you guys are having a hard time with all that, but it was a VDT. And I would type it in, and the next day in the paper, the box score would say, Northwestern lost or won, whatever it would be, and it would have your name and how many points you scored, and your parents would be all proud, and they would run and buy the paper at the 7-Eleven because it had the family name in it and showed how many points you scored. In the new world, how do you find out whether Northwestern's winning or losing on a Friday night at 8 o'clock? Who said Twitter? Somebody said Twitter. I heard the word Twitter. It's first time. Twitter. How long has Twitter been around? 18 months, really, where people have been using it. Now, I'm 42. 18 months to me feels like about a week and a half ago. To somebody your age, maybe it feels like it's been around a long time. I mean, for some of you, iPhones and Droids feel like they've been around your whole life. They've been around 3 years. So for me, it's a very, very small percentage of time. And they're never going away. That's really the part that the old people are having a hard time understanding. That we're never going back to card catalogs. We're never going back to libraries. You're in a museum right now. This room with books is a museum. It'll never exist again like this. Your children will not have a library with books in it in their high school. I promise you. If you come back 15, 20 years from now, hopefully 25 years from now for some of you with your kids, but you won't have books because every book in the world is going to be available right here on a stroke, right? Any of you have an iPad? Have any of you seen an iPad work? You've seen iPads? I mean, for an old guy, blows my mind, right? Back to Twitter. Twitter came 18 months ago. And because I'm an old guy, it took me a little while to adopt it, Twitter is now the most powerful thing we do as a company. And you know why? Because when I'm at the locker with Ray Lewis an hour from now, when I leave here and pack this up, I'll hold that camera in front of Ray Lewis in the locker, and I can literally hit a button, and it's live on the internet. Now, 15 years ago, I had to spend $200 million and have a tower and have a truck with a satellite dish and one of those big old cameras that cost $30,000 on my shoulder and stand in front, because I still see these guys, right? I work next to them. I'm the dork in front of Ray Lewis with a little camera like this, and these guys come in and they got cables and they got these gigantic things on their shoulder and hitting you in the side of the head when you're at Ray Lewis's locker. And they haven't really even caught on to the fact that I could broadcast live, as I'm doing right now, right here, for whoever wants to see it.
If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.